Hello and welcome back to Mother Tongue, your eyes, ears and finger on the pulse for all parents around the world. Let's get going, shall we?
So today, Frankie, we're talking all about driving and transportation, which, I mean, I feel like I've got a lot of questions on this. I have witnessed driving in traffic firsthand in Saudi, and I think we'll come on to that later. I wanted to start with your new metro because I feel like this is quite a big step for Saudi in general. Public transport. Talk me through
It's
this.
so exciting. So there is a train here that I've not been on that kind of connects from here to, I want to say Kobar, like Dammam Way, that I've always really wanted to go on because it's got some hidden gems along the way. So there is public transport, but that's the only one I've really heard of that comes out of Riyadh. But we've been here 6 years. And there has been a train running on a track through Riyadh for honestly about 5 of those years. It's been going back and forth, so much so my kids call it the ghosty train because there's never anyone on it. So it hasn't even got a driver. So it just goes along this metro line. So anyway, last weekend it launched and it has gone crazy. It's so exciting. So we gave it a little bit of time to dull down and everyone was going on it and it was chaos and just very exciting. So we gave it maybe a week and we were like, right, let's do it on a weekend when it's quiet. We'll go to CAFT and which is RDIFC and go on this metro. So the kids were so excited to go on the ghosty train, imagine.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they were literally living their best life. So it was so great. It was so smooth. It was just really clean, really easy, smooth sailing. So you get there, you get a rail card. The kids get personalised rail cards, which is so cute. I didn't know what I was doing because I've lived not on a train, not been on a train for a very long time. Because obviously when you live in London, the tube is second nature. I remember just doing it with my eyes closed. Whereas living in the Middle East, I never really went on the train in Dubai. I haven't really done the train here. Obviously, it's not been here. So it was quite hilarious watching me trying to work out how to buzz in and out. My husband and the kids had gone through and I was like, I don't understand. But you can do it with Apple Pay, so you don't even have to buy a ticket. So very smooth. Go down and it basically is multiple lines. It's a bit tube mappy. You can go different locations.
Oh, wow.
Not all of the lines are open yet, but you can go to Alea, you can go to CAFT, and we did it and we loved it. It was, like I say, really clean, really smooth sailing. Everyone was very respectful. There was no pushing and shoving, and there's family sections, there's VIP sections. I didn't really see that was being honoured. I feel like everyone was just getting on wherever, but I remember Dubai was much like that at the beginning as well. It was really great. And honestly, the traffic is so much better.
What?
Imagine.
Already?
Yeah,
That is
already.
wild.
Yeah, it's so fast. I'm so happy because for anyone that doesn't know Riyadh traffic, this is definitely an episode in itself, isn't it? Like we're going to get through a lot today. It is so busy, so busy. Although some of my besties actually just went to Dubai last week and they said Dubai was worse, which I was really surprised to hear.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Dubai's quite
quantity.
Dubai, and also Dubai is really bad at certain times of day, where I feel like Riyadh is quite consistently busy.
Yeah, it's chaos. It's also, that's the word, chaos. So it's just a lot of kind of everyone driving wherever, whereas Dubai feels a bit more structured.
Yes.
Whereas Riyadh's a bit like free for all moments where you're thinking this is just. But I mean, I was here when women couldn't drive, and then I was probably the first round of expats that went in for the female driving license. And I remember thinking, I'm going to let the team down here because I'm such a bad driver. I am worse than the whole of Saudi in itself. So I was thinking, they probably should have let someone else go first. But I did it. And yeah, you just get used to it. The only thing I would say is it can be quite exhausting sometimes because it could easily take you an hour to get to somewhere you'd want to go for dinner, and that's quite long, isn't it? Like when you're
Mm.
stuck in traffic and you're trying to navigate. So it's great that we've got the metro now, because that just takes the edge off. That if you're going for a dinner, or like we took the kids, like I say, to Caft for dinner, and they could run around and play. And then the only thing I would say is we didn't end up getting the metro back because the queue was insane at Caft.
Really?
Yeah, it was really, really big. But then a friend was in said queue, and she said it only took about 8 minutes to get through, which I think is actually not that bad, but it looked really busy. And with 2 kids hungry, I just thought, oh,
No, thank
I'm
you.
just going to taxi back. So we do have Uber, we have Kareem, we have Riyadh taxis, which are green. So you can just grab a taxi quite easily as
Yeah.
well.
So is the metro, I'm guessing, is it above ground or below ground?
Bit of both.
Okay. And do you have, is there public transport in Jeddah as well, or is this the first thing that's kind of arrived in Saudi?
I'm not sure actually. I didn't see one in Jeddah, and I've not heard about one in Jeddah, but this is definitely the talk of the town at the moment, the Riyadh one.
Amazing.
But Jeddah traffic, I find when I've been to Jeddah, isn't as bad. It's not as hectic. It's not as busy.
Yeah.
Just genuinely, Jeddah just has much more chilled vibes. So, and do you know what I often refer it to when people moan about Riyadh traffic? If I was driving around central London, if I was driving around New York, I would not love it. It's a city. It's a really busy, thriving, fantastic city. There's so much is happening. You can't then complain that it's really tough to get in and out of it.
No.
So
No.
that's what I try to like rationalize when people are like, I hate Saudi traffic. I think, well, any city is really hard to drive in, like that level of city,
Yeah. And I wanted to ask about driving etiquette in Saudi, and like the rules of the road. So, I mean, here, for example, in the UK, it's all done on a point system, right? And then you lose your license if you get X amount of tickets. In Dubai, I think you'd have to get a lot of speeding fines to actually lose your license. I've never really heard of anyone lose their license here. What are the rules in Saudi? Are the fines quite heavy for speeding and parking versus losing licenses?
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because I remember in Dubai, you would get your tickets, and then at one point in the year they'd give a sale where you could like get a discount. Do you still have that?
No, sadly, that was waived a couple of years ago, probably around the time you left, because they were golden days.
That was brilliant. So I say the speeding fines here are around between like 150, 300 SAR dirhams, same. So quite cheap, right?
Oh my God, yeah, because ours have gone up now. So a bad speeding fine, you're talking like 1,200 dirhams.
Ooh.
If you get caught for jumping a red light now, it was 5,000 dirhams. It's now 50,000 dirhams if you get done for jumping a red light. Yeah.
So I did this the other day, I'm not going to lie. So I jumped a red light accidentally. So what had happened was I was on a crossroads, and I went through when it was green, and then we all stopped because something had happened ahead. So I was effectively stuck in the middle of the crossroad, and I knew if I went forward, I was going to be in the red light and hit that. And if I couldn't stop, because then the next load of traffic couldn't come through. So annoyingly, I went forward, and it was 6,000 SAR. And it's one of those things where you want to say, hang on, that wasn't my fault.
Yeah.
And it was, but actually it wasn't worth it. And I did jump the red light accidentally. So, that's around 6,000 SAR. So the punishments are quite big for that. And then the other day I saw, for example, if you drive down the bus lane on one of the lanes, I saw it was 10,000 to 20,000 SAR. So that's quite a big hit.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely things in place. And I don't know about Dubai, so I don't remember this in Dubai, but for example, here on a red light, you can turn right. You can still come out and turn right, which I find really bizarre. I think it's an American thing. So I'll often just sit at the red light in a panic just in case I'm going to jump it. And I've got people behind me beeping saying, you can go. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. So yeah, there's a couple of things like that where I'm still finding my feet on the roads. But yeah, the fines are quite severe. And I think they have to be, because people, would take the mick. And I quite like that we've got the speed cameras everywhere. It keeps everyone in check.
Agreed.
Yeah, so I'm quite happy to have that level of regulation.
And then what about getting things like driving licenses? Is it quite easy? You mentioned obviously you had a British driving license. Was it easy to convert your driving license? And what about driving lessons and getting a driving license full stop in Saudi? Is that easy?
Yeah, so it's changed a lot. Now I think you can just literally translate your driving license across from certain countries, not all
Okay.
countries, but I think from UK you can. Whereas when I first, because I like to say I was on the first kind of batch of expats to do it, I had to do a test. And I was terrified because I can drive until I'm told at the age of 37 that I need to parallel park with someone watching. I absolutely cannot do that. So I was like, where's the parking cameras? She was like, we don't have them in this car. You have to actually do it yourself. So that was terrifying, but I did pass. So we had to do a test. And I remember one girl behind me, she hit probably 8 out of 10 cones on the way around a little loop. And I thought,
No.
oh, yeah, I was really glad that there was a test. No, she
Stop
was
it.
really cross she failed. So yeah, so that used to be the case, but now it's not. And interestingly, when I first moved here, my husband could just translate his license, but as a woman, you couldn't. You had to
Oh,
do the
wow.
test. Yes, that was cheeky. But now I think it's a case that if you've got a UK license, you can just get it translated. And if you have a Dubai license, I don't think you can get it translated unless you're Emirati. So it's from your original country.
Okay. Okay.
So I couldn't have
Okay.
translated my Dubai one.
So interesting. And then what about owning a car? I mean, I know we've touched upon this in other episodes, but how easy is it to buy a car? And, do most people buy new cars, or would you suggest buying secondhand cars? If you're looking for a secondhand car, where do you go about finding one?
Yeah, so I would definitely say, I think, yeah, like you said, we touched on it before, that when you're moving here and you're finding your feet and you're working out what it's going to be like here, don't go in and get yourself a Lamborghini. Just
No,
don't.
just
It's
don't do it.
just, yeah, it's not the right thing. Anyone with a nice car here is going to be petrified quite a lot of the time because of the nature of the roads. So my husband's got a Lucid, and he honestly probably spends most of the time probably being quite terrified because it's electric, so it doesn't make any noise. So when you're driving on the Saudi roads, imagine it's just like in stealth mode. It's constantly very quiet. And I think, oh gosh, I never drive it. I don't want to get involved. Whereas my car is a big Dodge Durango. I own the road. I'm like living my best life. So for me, I feel like bigger the car, the better. Probably louder the car, the better.
Yeah,
Just having that kind of presence in the car will make you feel better, especially if you're driving with kids. It just
agreed.
makes me feel like,
More
in
control.
any Middle East country is a bit like that, isn't it?
Yeah,
So yeah, so my car was secondhand. You can get secondhand. There's big kind of, I want to say like big marketplaces like Auto Trader vibes that you can go and like look at old secondhand cars. And then there's also a lot of expats. Obviously, it's transient country, so a lot of expats will be selling their cars, and you can jump onto secondhand WhatsApp groups, and you could get a car off the back of one of them. And then you can buy new. There's a lot of places here you can buy new, but again, a lot of my friends have kind of gone for more of the like Chinese style cars, like the Changans, and I'm terrible with cars. I pretend I know what I'm talking about, but I absolutely don't. But they've gone perhaps more affordable than going for like the Mercedes or the Porsche or because it's just not. And also the thing I love about here is it's so not keeping up with the Joneses. In Dubai, I always felt a pressure to have a nice car and have a nice house. And like we said this where we talked about the villas, like all the villas here are pretty much the same. We're all paying pretty much the same rent. We've all got pretty much the same cars. There's no like flashiness, which is lovely.
yeah, I love that. And also, you mentioned their WhatsApp groups, like secondhand market WhatsApp groups. Can you tell me more about these? Because we don't have that. We have Dubizzle and Facebook groups as like our secondhand marketplaces. How do people find out about these WhatsApp groups, and how do they get into them?
Yes, they tend to be specific to a community. So, for example, there's mummy WhatsApp groups that are secondhand, which you'll just get invited to from moving here from someone that knows the WhatsApp group. And then also in the compound. So we have a Wadi secondhand group because I live on Wadi Cordoba. I live on Wadi Cordoba compound, so we have a secondhand group here, and all the compounds tend to. So it's quite great when you're first moving to try and get into one of these WhatsApp groups when you know the compound you're going to be on before you arrive. So you can say, you know, has anyone got extra of this, that, and the other that you might need without needing to go straight to IKEA or straight to the furniture shops here. And same with cars, you can suss out a car before you get here if you need to.
Okay, that's amazing. And what about the other thing I was going to say is what about things like any other modes of transport? Like, do people cycle in Riyadh? Do people go on scooters?
Yeah, so scooters are a new thing. So with the going back to the metro stations, because you've seen Riyadh, it's quite sparse and quite sandy in places. There's not really that many places that you could get on the metro from your house. So it's not like in London where you could walk to your nearest metro station, or even in Dubai, probably is the same as here. You couldn't walk from JBC down to the metro, for example. So we here have launched a lot of scooters, electric scooters. So now you see them buzzing around a lot more than you ever would have. I never saw them before, and now they feel like they're everywhere, which is great because, again, it's encouraging people to not be in their cars and be a bit more dynamic with the way they're getting about. So I definitely see a change. And there's also a thing called Green Riyadh, where they're encouraging a lot more greenery, a lot more parks, a lot more roads and footpaths. And that will be when cyclists probably will come in a bit more, and people will, yeah, it's just ever developing. So people will be able to get around just in different ways.
And then what about your air transport? Now, I know that Saudi is extremely well connected with other global airlines, but you've also got some really good airlines of your own and quite a few airports. Can you just talk us through like your flight options in and out of Saudi?
Yeah, so we have Saudia, which is our national line, airline. So that is really, really such a great airline. Saudi has been brilliant. We've used it so much. They fly everywhere, really, to be honest. Saudi do. Then we have more of the like bucket flights. So I think they're all from Dubai. I don't think we have our own, unless I just don't know. But we've got Fly Nas. Is Fly Nas yours? Fly a Deal. All these ones.
Oh, okay. No,
Sure.
I don't know these.
Oh, okay. Maybe they're ours.
Yeah, I think they
Yeah.
are
So we've
yours.
got a fair few bucket flights that are just the ones that will nip over to Jeddah or nip over to Alula or nip over to Dubai. Then we have the big internationals, like you say. So as a family, we predominantly use British Airways just because my husband travels so much and he always gets British Airways flights. So then we've been able to accumulate miles, which we can then use as a family when we want to travel. We also have Virgin launching next year, which is very exciting. We have Riyadh Air launching, I think it's next year or the year after, which is going to be on par with like an Emirates Etihad vibe with regards to luxury airline. So we're really excited about that one. And then what else have we got? Yeah, I think that's it. They're the ones that spring to mind.
That's
But
amazing.
yeah, and British Airways, for example, they do 2 flights a day to London. So it is quite a lot. And in Saudi, I do a handful of flights a day to London. So it's really easy to get home. And then Dubai, obviously, we have the shuttle where the people that work between Dubai and Saudi, they come in. You did the Suits flight, didn't you, actually,
Yeah.
when you came in?
But there's a million of them.
Yeah.
It blows my mind, and I think I mentioned this on a previous episode. I can't get over how busy every single flight is out of Dubai to Saudi. Regardless if you're going to Jeddah or Riyadh, I mean, they put on an A380 Airbus every single day, and it's busy amongst a million other flights. I mean, I think Fly Dubai do 3 flights return a day. Emirates do, I think, 3 flights return a day. And that's the 2 big airlines. That's not including all the little like airlines like Wizz Air, Fly Nas, as you mentioned, any of the Saudi airlines. It's really busy, really busy. And I mean, I know that you've got one main airport, haven't you? And within that main airport, there's lots of different terminals.
Yeah. And then I think we're
Yeah.
getting a new airport, actually. A new Riyadh airport is on the horizon. But I would also say something to consider, which I didn't know when I first moved here, and I would have loved someone to have said. There is an element of not being able to get to Europe a lot of the year, for example. So we'll say when we're planning out our holidays, right, we'll go to Europe this time of the year, and they won't be flying directly there from here. It's very done by seasons here. So in the summer, it's obviously mass exodus for a lot of people because it does get so hot here and the schools are closed. So then they'll fly to Spain or, France. But actually, it can be quite difficult to kind of get yourself about at certain times of the year, which I didn't realise.
That's interesting. That's actually quite like here with some seasonal routes, but I think Emirates do fly predominantly across the globe, across the year. But I guess you have the option, if you wanted to fly via Dubai or via Qatar or via Abu Dhabi to then go into other places if you wanted to, right?
Yeah, and that's what most people tend to do, to be honest. We'll stop exactly like say in Doha, Dubai, and then from there,
Yeah.
Qatar or Emirates will take us wherever we need to get to.
Which is amazing. And then my last question before we kind of round up is coping with the traffic. So I know we've spoken a little bit about the traffic. Any tips and tricks on newbies who are arriving into Riyadh in particular on how to cope with the traffic situation?
Yeah, so I think for one, and you'll know this from talking to me throughout this series, I'm a cup half full kind of girl. So there is no point in moaning about it. Do not make it a negative thing. Like I said, every single big city in this world is going to have traffic that's busy and hectic and a little bit wild. So for one, just keep your mental, load in check when it comes to getting negative about it, because it's not helping anyone and it's not going to change quick enough. And if it makes your experience not great, then that's on you, because, you just have to get on with it. So that's the first thing. Second thing I would say, honestly, embrace it, because I find the freedom versus not being able to drive here. I will never moan about Saudi traffic because I couldn't drive here when I first got here. So for me, I feel so lucky now that I have the freedom to be able to go to the coffee shop, to be able to pick my kids up from school and just get in the car and go off and explore the city. Whereas historically, I'd have to get a driver and it would be a logistical nightmare sometimes. So for me, yeah, like I say, just keep it positive and just enjoy the experience of it. Get out, go and drive out to the desert, the other side of the city, go to Bajari Terrace, just get out and enjoy being out and about. And if you get lost, where does it take you? Like, what does this experience bring? So that would be my way of looking at it.
And probably get a big car and not a small Kia Picanto.
Yes, I don't know what that is, but I feel like it sounds small.
It's very small.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself, Frankie. Don't do it.
No.
And then for anyone, Frankie, who wants to reach out and say hi, where can they find you?
I am at Frankie with an IE Hilton X on Instagram.
Thanks, Dar. Until next week.
Thank you.